and not being able to be often the top leaders as we should be of every institution, whether it's elected official, corporate, advocates, NGO world, to be recognized. One of the things that Mom did was that she understood how to connect the feminist American movement with the international movement, who many women in villages in the global South, across the world, and in all sorts of parts of the world were already leading the fight because they were leading their fight in their villages for survival. She understood how to make the connection, you see, between a women's movement in the United States, and one was one of the first, and Marilyn and all of you who are at Beijing know this, to create an agenda where everybody, women, could grapple with all the agenda items of our time, every issue that impacts women and girls. And the reason why she was able to do that and create American feminists, create the dialogue in America for them to understand we have to link to the global South and to women all over the world, is because she was a brilliant tactician and she had compassion, passion, and heart. And for the Beijing platform 20 years later, I was there as a young woman with my partner through the mud. Those of you who went to the unofficial conference in Haru, it rained every day. There was mud. The meetings were intense. And my mother at this point was suffering from stenosis. She could walk, but we had to push her in a wheelchair from tent to tent. She led First Lady Hillary Clinton, who was, of course, famous for her speech, women's rights, human rights, through to each of these tents to meet women that Hillary had never imagined could conduct the kinds of movements and to fight for their families and their villages and their communities under enormous and terrible odds, whether it was female FGM, whether it was sex trafficking, whether it was abuse, child marriage. This was a time, for the first time in modern history, where women from the North, the South, America, could get together and share their common concerns. Every item on the platform, which I watched my mother and some of you negotiate, so that that platform, for the first time, women in the grassroots level, the NGO level, could go to the official proceedings at the UN.
And one of last year's legislative wins was the passing of the Domestic Workers' Bill of Rights. And this, which guarantees all domestic workers, such as caregivers and housekeepers, paid overtime. Next to these achievements, women still face barriers in gaining economic equality, such as equal opportunity to employment. Women have not shared equally in the recovering economy in California. Women are still more vulnerable to unemployment. According to a study, employment for women has declined between the years 2010 and 11 by 1.2%, while for men, the rate remained steady. And of course, among the most affected are single mothers due to state budget cuts and weakened family support programs. Next would be, we could name wage discrimination an ongoing issue. For the whole country, the disparity is 76 cents to $1 for women. In California, it's a bit higher, it's 84 cents to $1. But this difference becomes even more striking when we look at race distribution, age, and level of education.